Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Tewksbury Board of Health to order. Today is Wednesday, June 24th. It is 6 o'clock. Meeting is being recorded and broadcasted by Tewksbury TV. We do have a quorum. We are missing George currently. So first, if we could just stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item of business is the approval of the minutes from May 21st, 2026. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any corrections or amendments? Hearing none. Okay, do we have a motion? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve. Motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
May.
Perfect. Motion.
Second the motion.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye as well. Unanimous. Okay. Perfect. All right. So next agenda item is the public hearing regarding 70 Katie's Way. I believe it was requested by counsel for JMF Realty regarding the health department's June 9th and June 11th orders. The chair will entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I will motion to open the public hearing. I'll second.
Okay, motion put forward, seconded by Chris. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion, chair votes aye as well. Motion carries. Public hearing is now open. So from my understanding, before we begin, we're hearing an appeal of orders issued by the health department under the state sanitary code. The board's role tonight is limited to determining whether those orders should be affirmed, modified, or rescinded. This is not a housing court proceeding. We will not be deciding questions related to any of those landlord-tenant disputes, evictions, any of those things. Those are outside of our board's jurisdiction. So I ask everyone to keep comments focused on the issues before the board. So Shannon, if you want to start us off.
Okay. A little background history. This property was purchased by JMF Realty in January through auction. There are currently tenants living in the home, which has been under the eviction process. They called for an inspection back in April. At that time, we wrote up violations then. There were some corrections to those violations made by the property owner's management company. They've been proactive in addressing those violations when they're able to gain access, which is another obstacle that the health department has also been dealing with, trying to get into the property. Then we received a complaint from a tenant, again, June 8th, regarding no electricity. That person doesn't necessarily live at the property. So on June 9th, we told them to have one of the tenants that has been present during our inspections and on the report to call us to give us the complaint. We went out to the property to inspect that there was no electricity, which is a condition deemed to endanger, which makes the house uninhabitable. We wrote up the no electricity. There was also presence of many flies in the property due to the excess garbage that was in the garage that we didn't see until that inspection on the 9th. So then that's when we wrote up those conditions as conditions deemed to endanger, which makes the house unfit. At that time, we informed the tenants that they needed to vacate. We wrote orders to the owner to correct as well as to secure the property. Every order issued by the health department has the option to come before us for a hearing, so that brings us here tonight.
Great. Thank you. So if you'd like to state your name and your address, and then just please make sure that you're adding that to the sheet as well. That's right there. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is David Plunkett, in an office in Lowell, Massachusetts, and I live in the town of Tewksbury, 257 Fisk Street. With me at the table is Mr. Michael Farris, who is the manager of JMF Realty LLC. Basically, what we'll ask to come before the board to basically establish and the fact that at all times we've responded to notices received from the Board of Health, and we've tried to work as closely as possible through Ms. Gillis and other representatives of the board, and have gone out and taken measures as soon as possible to the best of our ability, based upon the fact that we can't force people to allow us to do things that we want to do. As you indicated, it's not, you might not feel that's directly related to the hearing tonight, but it's certainly part and parcel of the process that's ongoing with the housing court, and we had an emergency meeting last Thursday, I believe, and that was before Judge Malamu, the housing court, and we have submitted, a number of items at his request, and, I don't know if you want to see, again, the judge has taken this under advisement. We wanted to, we got notice from the Mr. Boudreau, who's the clerk, in terms of proposed order of the court, findings of fact resulting from the Thursday hearing, and basically we're waiting for the judge to rule on these items. Certainly, the judge has indicated during the hearing process currently before the court, as well as in prior litigation that took place relative to 70 Katy Way, in which the occupants are not deemed to be tenants, but they're deemed to be, the court has identified them as gratuitous licensees, which in other words, they don't have a right to be there. They don't have a right. There's no contract, there's no agreement, there's no rent, nothing's being paid. In addition to paying for the property at the foreclosure sale, Mr. Farris also had to cut a check for over $30,000 to the town of Tewksbury to bring current taxes, water, and sewer. And the occupants can't even bother to wheel garbage the distance from the garage down to the end of the driveway for the Tuesday pickup, which is, at one point during the testimony on Thursday, I asked your director in terms of, does it appear that, that this accumulation is short-term or long-term, and it was clearly long-term. A lot of things have been going on there, but we're taking steps. We're taking steps, and the of importance is to convey to the board and the board members that, Mr. Farris is not sitting back and saying, hey, don't bother with me with that. We're doing everything as quickly as possible and moving forward with court order. One of the things that I would bring up, though, is in terms of the, initially, the reference to some of the conditions in the premises, being the order of the, being the responsibility of the occupants, and then, June 9th is an indication, that it's the responsibility, the question of whether by directive from Boston, that it's the responsibility of the owner of the property. We would take dispute, in terms of an inference that someone occupying the property can put the burden on the owner, and there's a specific case Bank of America versus Roser, went before the Supreme Judicial Court in Massachusetts, dated 2013. And in that case where an occupant, similar to the occupants of this property, in the court, that they were there, they didn't have a right to be there. And in the court, in their determination, said that in that case there was one defendant rather than multiple defendants, but it said the defendant never rented or leased the premises, and as a result, condition-based claims or defenses, then the court found which are contractual in nature and depend on the establishment of a landlord-tenant relationship are not available to her. So they can't go in without a contractual relationship with the owner of the property. And, it's, all I can say is it's beyond belief when you go there to think that people think that they have a right to live this way and treat property this way, and then turn and point to this person there and say, oh, it's your responsibility. So we accept our responsibility as owner of the property, and we're doing everything and we're responding as quickly and doing as much as possible. But, I think there are limitations, and there is case law that indicates that an occupant without any contractual relationship with the owner of the property can't do what they're doing. And that's basically living, it's, in one sense, it's like squalor.
Right.
And then say, oh, well, you should be held accountable. We're doing everything we can, including going to the court. And Madam Chair, I don't know if you want to have for your records just what we have filed with the court, or if you,
I mean, we can take it for, yeah, that's fine. So again, I know that, and I understand that there's ongoing court proceedings, but our review basically is limited to the sanitary code and whether it was properly issued. So that's what is coming up in front of the board to see if it was properly issued or not. So I guess my question would be, are you challenging the findings that were presented, or?
Thank you.
We're challenging the findings to the extent that there's an inference that there's a potential liability aspect upon JMF Realty LLC for fines and penalties, for not curing these problems that exist. We're certainly not contesting what the Board of Health has done in terms of trying to identify the conditions that exist on the premises and taken steps to see that these conditions are rectified. But, again, I want to be certain that our standing with the board is with a complete understanding that we're not shirking any responsibility here. We're doing everything we can. And Mr. Farris, when he was able to, and he was able to get in and get some of the work done, but at this point, there's only two of the occupants have actually left, which leaves us with 3, and now a son of one of the occupants who has now turned 18, which we had to add to the complaint because it became age of majority. But they're living they're willingly living in this condition. They're willingly refusing to put garbage in a garbage pail and wheel it down to the end of the driveway. They're willingly throwing bags of garbage into their garage for an extended time period. They're willingly living in a home that, from the pictures that were taken and reviewed by the Board of Health as well as by some of the workers that have gone into the property, appear that this hasn't been cleaned probably for years. I know that during the testimony, they utilized, we're not preparing also, because once we get them out of there, we'll have the ability to put the property under control, to secure the property, and then we still have to move forward, and we send up for a motion for summary judgment in the housing court. And I used some of the language that the Board of Health used to describe the premises, and it was like the walls and floors are covered with gummy debris and build up, organic material. So clearly, nothing's been cleaned in this property. My client testified at the hearing in terms of the judge was asking, is this something that could be taken care of? With what my client referred to as deep cleaning. He said, no, from his experience. And, my client has been in this business for 33 years. He says, what he has seen there, he's going to have to get in there, remove the toilets, remove these sinks, remove flooring, there's instances that it appears that they have pets that, when the Board of Health went in, there was feces on the ground, which would indicate also that they're probably urinating on the ground as well.
Right.
So, his testimony before the court was, you can't clean that. We have to get in there. We're going to have to basically take everything out, including flooring, rugs, cabinets, toilets, sinks, and then says it's up in the air in terms of whether some of the wall board would have to be removed as well.
Right.
So this is something, we're not here to dispute anything that the Board of Health has said relative to the condition of the premises. And we're in complete agreement that this should not be allowed to continue on, and we're doing everything we can to address it. We want to make sure that, we're not, that the board isn't looking at Mr. Farris as being negligent in addressing the issues that have been brought to his attention and susceptible to fines for, and if someone were to purposely ignore, if we received and we never contacted the Board of Health and said, hey, it's not our problem, call us when it's over, I wouldn't be here today.
Okay.
First of all, my client would never do that.
Right.
That's not how he operates. But if someone were to do that, then I think the board would be very well, in their role as members of the Board of Health to find someone like that. But we just want to make sure that everyone is aware that that's not the circumstances that exist. We understand the nature of what's going on. We understand the seriousness of what's going on. Because it's just hard to believe.
Okay. So my understanding, thank you for that. So basically, you're not challenging the determination of that this is, what was found, and it's unfit for habitation, but rather kind of a relief from enforcement of that. Okay, so Shannon, question for you. Are we imposing fines currently? No. Okay. All right. And you've felt like they've been pretty consistent with attempting and doing what's been asked?
I think the issue at hand is really getting in and the house vacant in order to do said work.
Okay. Okay. All right. Does the board have any questions or?
I do.
Oh, go ahead.
First of all, I'm sorry you're going through this. This is a totally different world that we live in today, which blows my mind. But I just have a question that has to do with the red tagged meter outside. How long has that been red tagged? The electric meter?
The red tag meter?
Yes, the outside was red tagged.
Is that right?
It was the 9th, and then my understanding when they turned it on the following day is what we were told. They take the tag off.
Okay.
Oh, so it's already off?
I can't say for sure. I haven't seen it, but they've told us the electricity is on.
Okay.
We haven't been back since the 9th.
All right, so
Inside.
there hasn't been confirmation that it's on. Okay.
Yeah, it's like one tenant was upset about no electricity and the other one was upset that he told us there was no electricity.
Okay.
I don't-
So maybe this question is for you. Who's paying for that electricity? Who turned it on, if it was on?
The tenant that's still there, her adult son now.
The person,
for it.
people that are living there, I wouldn't even call them tenants, but, all right. No, I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
I actually have a question. So these people that are there, they don't have a lease or anything like that? No. So they're basically trespassing and squatting?
The background is that the prior litigation, they were labeled as gratuitous licensees, and that the owner of the property, who then ended up losing the property to foreclosure, had her sister come in to the property to help her out. Her sister then allowed, and two of these parties in possession are offspring of the sister that moved, of the owner. And the owner then brought an action against them. And the court's decree, in terms of the label them as licensee, saying that the owner left the premises because she lost control over the property and that they refused to leave. So these are people that weren't even invited in by the owner. They come in, take over the property, the owner then leaves the property, and she ends up losing the property to foreclosures.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I have one more thing.
They have TV shows like this.
Yeah,
I
so
swear.
just that we stay on track, it's, obviously Massachusetts is a tenant-friendly state, just keep that in mind. And that's part of potentially what is happening, even if they're not necessarily tenants, but they're living there, so they are friendly to that. That's a whole other thing. What we need to do in this aspect, it's not really about, the situation of the tenants being there or not. It's more of finding that these findings are accurate, that we recognize that, that the things remain pending upon you being able to get in there and fixing it, and that it's not been anything of negligence on your end, but basically of not being able to go in. And since we are not currently doing any type of fines, I think that this is something that, especially because it is going in front of the housing court, that needs to be, situated and finalized prior to anything else, and then moving forward, once those are set, once everything is situated in there, then we can ensure that, you're taking the proper next steps to move forward and getting things fixed and maintained the way they should be, and then potentially getting someone in there with a lease.
And we certainly, more than willing to continue to keep the Board of Health through emails with Ms. Gillis relative to progress as we move along through the court system.
Okay, yeah. So based on everything, I don't think that there's a dispute of the conditions. I think it's more of the owners and, property management being able to comply while the legal proceedings are going on. So I think that's, really what we want to ensure that we're doing. Do we have to make a motion to probably?
In the housing code, we have 30 days unless someone requests a hearing. So I would just recommend giving a date of either follow-up or
Yeah, okay,
some sort of date.
all right. Does anyone have any motions that they would like to put as far as a stipulation date of follow-through? And if not, I can recommend one.
Well, a follow-through, just to get an update from them as to what's happening.
Right,
correct?
especially because it's in court.
Right, okay. No, you come up with a date. I think we do need to follow up with it. This whole thing was really confusing to read and go
Yes.
through.
Yep.
So I'm realizing that, yes, you're here because I think you were worried about the penalties regarding what could happen. So
I mean,
I'm not sure when your next court cases are.
Could we request a 30-day, like late July rehearing or something like that?
That's what actually I was
I'm
going to
okay with
suggest. If we got like,
Yeah.
updates every 30 days, and then if something happens in between, you let
Yeah.
Yeah,
someone know. I think that's fair.
so do we have a motion to have, we'll do another, have a schedule, a hearing or an update. We might not necessarily need a hearing unless something has changed, obviously, but let's do it for,
Sure it is. Reading?
yeah, is that our next meeting? When is our next meeting?
No, I'm sorry.
It's the 16th, I think. I'm not here that day, so that's not going to happen. Let's do an update by the 30th of July. I mean, if everyone's okay with that, that gives, because of the holidays and stuff. So an update on or before July 30th on what's happening with the proceedings, and then go from there if we need another hearing. So do we have a motion on that?
Yes, I motion to have updates on or before July 30th regarding the proceedings of the home, of the property. And should another hearing be necessary with us, that we would do so.
All right.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hear none. Motion passes.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I think I was supposed to close the, before or after the thing. Ooh. Well, do we take a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hear none. Motion passes. And let's just do that again for vote, just so it's on the record correctly, potentially, after the public hearing has been closed. So would you like to put the motion ahead?
Motion to close the public hearing.
No. The motion of our vote that we voted for before the motion. The motion that, the 30 days.
Oh, I would,
Yes. Sorry.
it's okay. Motion for 30 days update on the property situation.
July 30th.
July 30th, yes.
Perfect. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Apologies on that. Just ran right through it. Okay, so now we'll go back to the agenda. Next is new business, which would be in regards to Kratom regulation discussion. I believe we have Cheryl Sabara here, who will give us some insight on that. So if you'd like to come up, that would be really great. Awesome.
Great. Thank you very much, Shannon.
Perfect, thank you.
This is an issue, well, I should introduce myself. My
Yes.
name is Cheryl Sabara. I am the Executive Director and Senior Staff Attorney for the Massachusetts Association of Health Boards. We are a membership association that provides legal education and technical assistance to the 351 boards of health in Massachusetts and other municipal officials if they request it. So my typical disclaimer, which all attorneys love to do, is to just make sure that you understand that we are not providing legal advice. Your city solicitors, well, your town council provides legal advice. We do not enter into attorney-client relationships. We're here to provide legal education on this topic. And it's a topic that has really arisen in Massachusetts and in other states. It's not just a topic in Massachusetts. And it's about a product called Kratom. And if you look at Kratom from an historical perspective, Kratom is really the leaves from a tropical tree that grows in Southeast Asia. And it's been growing in Southeast Asia for centuries. And it has been used by farm laborers in this area of the world, sort of like coffee would be used to sort of, it's a stimulant. They use it on breaks, they use it if they're having long days. And it has really safely been consumed for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's not classified as an opioid. It can bind to some opioid receptors. It is not addictive. The plant itself is not addictive. And it has, we're starting to see research now, and I can send you some of that research, where it has been a successful alternative to opioids for people that have chronic pain or for people that are suffering from opioid withdrawal. And one of the studies was from Johns Hopkins just 6 years ago, where the study surveyed and spoke with people who used it for harm reduction, for opioid addiction, and reported significant relief from withdrawal symptoms. And again, we're talking here about the plant-based, raw, natural Kratom. So why is this a problem? Next slide. Well, the problem is, you may remember a few years ago when cannabis was legalized, adult use cannabis was legalized. We ended up seeing some other products come on the market. Cannabis has Delta-9, a small amount of Delta-9 in it. What we started seeing was these lab-created, unregulated isomers of Delta-9, referred to as Delta-8 and Delta-10. We have been able to address them because they're not approved food additives, and they were being put in a lot of food. We also got some guidance documents from the Department of Public Health and the Department of Agricultural Resources and the Alcohol Beverage Commission that indicated that they were not legal products, they were in violation of the food code, and we were able to stem that a little. We're still seeing some of them. But what's happened since then is now we're seeing the same type of synthetic products being created that are not natural Kratom, but are instead synthetic Kratom with a much higher amount of 7-OH, which is it's in minuscule amounts in the natural Kratom, but now we're seeing it in convenience stores everywhere. And it's not regulated. It's sold, you can go in, you can find Doritos, you can find gummies, you can find pills, and it's mislabeled because there are no labeling requirements. So it's labeled as natural Kratom, but it's not natural Kratom. And what's happening, next slide, is that we are getting complaints from, especially from schools, that this is being used rampantly by middle and high school kids because it gets them really high really fast. And we're also seeing cases of psychosis, effects on the body. I mean, you can read these, I don't have to say them all. And the really scary part is that this synthetic stuff is highly addictive. And we are seeing wrongful death cases throughout the country where the manufacturers of these synthetic kratom products are being held responsible for deaths that have resulted. One was the death of a mother of 2 young kids. Another was the death of someone's underage son. So we're starting to hear more and more about the problems with these products and the challenge with trying to address them. Next slide. So what's currently being done throughout the United States? The federal government has not done anything, except they have issued warning letters, and they have indicated that they would like to regulate the raw natural kratom and ban the synthetic products. But I'm not going to hold my breath that that's going to happen anytime soon, but that's what they would like to do. The state action, there is an association called the American Kratom Association, and I have worked with one of their partners, Dr. Heidi Sikora. She actually flew in from Wisconsin, and we were on a panel at the most recent Environmental Health Officers Association conference to talk about this. And they have an interactive map where you can look and see what states are in the process of trying to do something, but it's a little inaccurate. I mean, the map says they've passed specific laws, but if you really do searching, they're in all different stages. They're considering it, but states are in all different stages of trying to get a handle on this. Next slide. What we have in Massachusetts right now is we had several bills, now they've sort of been consolidated. We have a bill in the Senate that would just ban all kratom, and then we have a couple of bills in the House and the Senate that would regulate the plant-based and ban the synthetic. You will see that there have been extension orders up until the end of July, and one was reported out favorably by the Joint Committee on Judiciary. Who knows making laws in Massachusetts, it's like you don't want to know what's in the sausage. So we don't know whether these are going to go anywhere in this legislative session or not. But in the meantime, boards of health are getting complaints, and I'm sure Shannon can tell you about them, from schools saying, what are you going to do about this? From police saying, what are you going to do about this? And they're all looking to boards of health to do something because of our legal authority to pass local regulations. Next slide. So this is the current status, and I'm sure I'm missing some because these are getting passed so quickly now that I can't keep up unless they inform me, the Board of Health informs me that they passed one. So you'll see what they are. Westboro, Chelmsford, Medford, Greenfield, they're all over with, some of them are in cities, some of them are in towns. But what we've discovered, next slide, the challenge that boards of health are having now is, do we ban all of this, or do we regulate the plant-based stuff that is not harmful? Well, and that's what obviously the advocates want us to do. They want us to regulate the plant-based and ban the synthetic. We are 351 local boards of health that are not well resourced. We have municipal budget problems throughout the state. I've had conversations with these advocates, and I have personal experience, lived experience with the benefits of plant-based kratom and opioid withdrawal and how it helps. So they have come up with, they've created a law called the Kratom Consumer Protection Act. And it is a Consumer Protection Act. And next slide. And they would really like it if we would enact this law. Here's just a piece of it. This is their compliance check for retail enforcement. And, you know, it would be lovely if we had a Kratom Consumer Act in place that could be enforced by, I don't know, the Cannabis Control Commission, the Attorney General's office, because it's a Consumer Protection Act, but we don't. So they would like boards of health to do this. Now, Northampton tried to do this. Their Board of Health, Meredith O'Leary is their commissioner, they listened to the American Kratom Association and other advocates, and they said, you know, let's regulate it. Regulate the plant-based and prohibit the synthetic. When they're inspectors, and they're a big city with a very large health department with many inspectors, their inspectors went out and tried to distinguish between the natural and the synthetic, and it was virtually impossible for them to do. So the inspectors went back to the Board of Health and said, this is taking up an inordinate amount of our time, and we still don't really have a way to distinguish the two. So the Kratom Association put together this lovely checklist. It was originally 8 pages long, and I looked at it. And I said, you can't expect our inspectors with no resources to go out and do this. So Heidi shortened it to 5 pages. So here are screenshots of the 5 pages, the checklist for how you would actually try to determine the difference between plant-based products and synthetic products. So here we go. What are the red flags? If the product is vaped, or it's a liquid product, or it's inhalable, that's a red flag that means it's clearly not plant-based. Is it in injectable form? What is it labeled? Is it labeled something that sounds similar to opioids, like Oxy, for OxyContin? Our boards are supposed to be able to do this, okay? When they go into a store, they're supposed to be able to do that. You have to look at the labels to see if there's a mismatch. If it's a cartoon or a candy or a dessert, if you pass this law, then the law would prohibit that. So these are just some of the things. Next slide, Shannon. The next section. Does it have only natural ingredients? Well, what's mitragynine? Is it derived from the leaf or not? So I'm not going to go through all of these because we have a full thing. But if you look at this, you will see that what our inspectors would have to do is go through this checklist for every store where these products are. And they're in gas stations, convenience stores. They're everywhere that Delta 8, Delta 10 were. Next slide. So, I mean, and then they want you to look, they want our inspectors to look at the lab reports. And whether they're attested to or not. And, you know, what do they actually say? What's the percentage of the 7-OH that's in there? The total alkaloid content. Next slide. And I mean, I think that might be the last one. Oh, then there's another one. And then they would determine, our inspectors would determine whether the product was fully compliant, under review, or not compliant, and, you know, sign it and whatever. So my question, and this is what the boards have decided, and that's sort of snarky, but how can our inspectors.
Yep.
Of which one I talked to in Hadley today, the health director is the only person there in the office, the only person. So what boards are doing now, because they can't distinguish between the stuff that, is good and helpful and harm reduction and helps chronic pain, and the stuff that's really hurting our kids, and other people that are using it to get high because it's cheap. So they're just banning it. They're just banning it because they don't have the ability. And the Kratom Association knows this. They know in Massachusetts, we cannot enact 351 Kratom Consumer Protection Acts. We don't have the resources to be able to do that. So that's where we are with Kratom now. And I'm sure you've received the same calls.
Yes.
We all have. So MAHB, my organization, has a draft that I just updated today and had edited that would ban it all. And then I am also going to put together a regulation that would regulate and ban. And I should say that Needham has done that. They've regulated it. And Foxborough has regulated it as well. And I believe the other one is Walpole that has. North Attleboro has restricted it to adult-only retail tobacco stores. I'm not sure that that's the right way to go, because retail adult-only tobacco stores are only supposed to be selling products that are incidental to tobacco, and I don't know how Kratom can be considered incidental to tobacco. So Needham has a very well-resourced health department, and they have not seen any of this stuff in Needham except for one product that has been taken off the shelf because the lab report wasn't attested to. But they are in a very unique situation in Needham. You'll see the vast majority of municipalities are looking at just banning this until the state does something or until the federal government does something. So it's that balancing test that we always have to utilize as Board of Health members and as folks that are public health professionals. Is the danger to our youth, where does that fall when you're on a scale with, well, there's a benefit to the plant-based Kratom. So it's a balancing test that you folks can use your judgment and determine whether it should be banned. Now, you don't have to draft a reg from scratch. We have that. Obviously, we would give it to your city solicitor's office to confirm that it's okay with the office. But we've done that work.
Great.
At least.
Thank you. Any questions from the members of the board?
And when this product is when we've addressed this product, then there's going to be another.
Sure.
Oh, joy.
I have a question from the towns and cities that have regulated it plant-based. Did any of them use a limit the sales to a licensed dispensary?
No, and the cannabis control, there are no licensed dispensaries for Kratom right now.
Right.
For cannabis, we would love it if they would take on the enforcement of synthetic products, but they have not shown any interest in doing that. And it's a whole new commission now. All the commissioners have been replaced. It's gone from a 5-member board down to a 3. And they're stuck with their social consumption regulations and trying to implement them. And what they will say, we would call them, or boards would call them and say, we found this synthetic stuff that's getting people high. They say, well, where did you find it? And we say, in gas stations and convenience stores. And they say, well, we don't license them, so we don't regulate them. So call your local Board of Health.
All right. Well, I was thinking of them only selling it at dispensaries, not allowing it to be sold in all these different places that children can get, but have it in one specific
Well, that was the thought behind North Attleboro in putting in an adult-only retail tobacco stores. The Cannabis Control Commission, as of right now, will not allow these
Okay.
products to go into their license.
They don't want the responsibility.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Pam?
You actually answered all my questions except one. This is probably a simple thing to answer. I read everything I could that we received, and 90% of the documents that I received were from out of state. And
Yes.
It has nothing to do with us, correct? Because
Correct.
if we banned it totally, that doesn't affect anyone from Minnesota or
Yeah,
something.
you will see that, and if you there will be a hearing in Hadley coming up in the next few months, and there will be hearings in Salem, in Lynn, and in Beverly. They're all considering banning it. It's just happening. And the advocates are going to be from out of
Different
state.
locations.
They are all right now from out of state. I haven't seen any advocates from Massachusetts right now. And they will say, and they make some valid points, because what Edgartown was saying, their Board of Health members and health director was saying is, well, they can get if we ban it all, you can still get plant-based stuff that's not addictive online. It's still available to people that want it. And one of the advocates said something that was pretty true. If you're a heroin addict that's homeless, are you going to go online to order this stuff with what? And what's the address you're going to use? So, that is somewhat true. But again, we have this balancing test. And we're a state that has a home rule amendment and legal authority for boards of health. We can't take on all of these things.
No.
We can't, but we see the problem. And we do want to protect our kids. So, and they get it. They did not understand how Massachusetts was set up. These same advocates came to the hearings at the State House, which makes more sense if the state's looking at doing something, but not a local Board of Health.
Right. Chris?
It makes sense to me, logical thinking here, that the plant-based would make more sense to be sold within the cannabis shops because they have regulations to get in. You can't just come in off the street. You have to show your ID before you go in and all that. So to me, it makes sense. It's like too bad they can't have like a Kratom corner and have someone.
Yeah,
But
that would be one potential solution. We're also talking about it, I also sit on the opioid abatement TA team, and we're talking about it too from the harm reduction side. Is there a way maybe that it could be prescribed, could be passed some sort of a law by addiction physicians and, handled that way for the chronic pain and the withdrawal symptoms. So that's beginning to be discussed. But right now, everything is on your plate. It's all on your plate. And you can either ban it or do nothing and wait until something else happens with, either the addiction community or, someone else. I know the Graken Institute is looking at it as potentially. There's not a lot of evidence out there. A lot of this is anecdotal, but there's beginning to be more and more.
And the process is not that we would do anything tonight?
Correct.
Okay.
No.
This is just a
So,
discussion.
yeah, this is a discussion. I know that we had we had utilized some that were created regulations from other towns and kind of put something together. Everyone has that in your packet. We can review it, we can ask questions, whatever, but I think what we want to do is potentially, vote on preparing for a public hearing on a proposed regulation for this. everyone who knows me knows my background. I'm very much into natural stuff. More, food is medicine kind of thing, plant-based versus synthetic, over prescribing, all those things. It just stinks that these things happen and then they make them synthetic and make it worse. And so it kind of destroys the whole part of it being natural. And then I do understand the whole part of not being able to regulate it as far as inspection wise, because even just regular inspections throughout the town, nonetheless, things kind of, can fall through the cracks, and that whole document seems very, very complex, where it can be even just the slightest of hearsay or thought, okay, yeah, this is great, and maybe it's not. So I think for us, we could do a motion to kind of, has everyone reviewed this? I mean, we can also, I know you had mentioned that you have,
I just finished.
Just finished.
And what I tried to do is to take the best pieces out of Northampton.
yep,
And Needham and put it together so that it's very comprehensive.
okay. And I know that our town council also reviewed it as well, so we had, he reviewed this one as well, and it looked, he said that it was
good.
It was good. So I would say that, we could move that
I
we,
mean, if you've had one that he's approved, terrific.
okay.
Just
Yeah.
go with it.
Yeah, because I think especially now, I mean, we've been holding on, and there's a lot of other stuff that's going on, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more coming up. So, kind of getting this, not like sitting on it and moving forward with something. So I'm not sure if everyone was, we're not voting on the adoption of this, but mostly of kind of preparing and noticing the public for a proposed kratom regulation, and then incorporating any revisions discussed during that time. So I think that's what we can do. So do we want to?
So the process is we'd have to have another public hearing on the
And it would be
regulation.
with, so we would probably have to, so I know we have an executive session coming up on Friday. We can also kind of go over that. We can look at these and review that. Any things that we want to modify or whatnot, if there's anything that you want to modify. But I think it would be important for us to kind of set something moving forward and getting that done. As long as I think it's 14 days that we have to give. So providing that we give 14-day notice for the public hearing regarding the regulation, and then the draft would be submitted for public record on that notice as well.
Okay, so it doesn't require another meeting, but rather just notification of the town.
But we have to have something as a draft, like this is what
I
we.
understood.
Yep.
Understood.
And I will send you the draft I did.
Yeah.
I found a couple of things that just were in the wrong places, and some of them that,
Yeah,
I was,
little things.
Thank you.
I would also like us to discuss it Friday
yeah.
in our meeting, so we can go over a couple of things and see if anyone wants to tweak, even though it's not set in stone, but before we present it,
Yeah,
I think that would be great if we could do that.
that's fine. That works for me. So then I would propose a motion to authorize that we prepare and notice a public hearing, potentially the end of July, because our next meeting is July, but we might have to postpone that because I don't know if we're gonna, I know I'm not gonna be here, so I'm okay with you guys going ahead with it. But if you guys don't want to go ahead with it, then we can do it for the end of the month or something. And that would give us plenty of time to review, kind of discuss this, make sure, and then this goes out 14 days with our public hearing. So,
I would like to push to the end of the month.
end of July.
That's okay,
yeah,
July.
maybe.
Like the 29th.
I would have to check on.
Yeah, we have to check the dates. So, can we have a motion, just the board authorize staff to prepare, look at the dates, public hearings, all of that on the proposed Kratom regulation, and then incorporating any revisions that we discuss in the near future.
That was a lot said in one sentence.
What's the synopsis? Motion to move the Kratom proposal review,
To prepare notice of public hearing.
prepare notice of public hearing. Okay, motion to prepare notice of public hearing for Kratom.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. Chair votes aye as well. Motion passes. Shannon, if you can find some dates at the end of July, and then that way we can get things moving and grooving on the discussion on this too.
Great.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate it very much so. Very informative. Okay,
Thank you for all you do.
thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so next is the public comment section. So can we have a motion to open the public comment section?
Motion to open the public comment section.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hear none, chair votes aye as well. Okay, so residents may speak on any matter within the board's public health jurisdiction. Comments are limited to 2 minutes per speaker, must be directed to the board through the chair. We cannot deliberate on matters raised, but may place them on a future agenda for consideration. Is there anyone that would like to make public comment at this time? Thank you.
My name is Dawn Sheehan. I live at 100 B Star Ave. We're talking about the battery site. We know that the tentative decision was made last week by the EFSB staff. The actual EFSB will make the final decision next week. We found out from our lawyer that the actual EFSB are not required to have viewed any of the court proceedings, to have read any of the documents, to have looked at anything other than the 200-page tentative decision that came across their desk last week. Legally, that's all they're required to actually look at, which is just disgusting. So on Tuesday, it is our only opportunity for the EFSB to hear our case. Our lawyer is only being allotted for 10 minutes to cover all of the problems that were brought up. The Board of Health has been incredible in writing briefs and having Hillman come before them. A large group of us will be attending in person at South Station. We plead with the Board of Health to please take seriously your role and to fully represent the health and safety of the town of Tewksbury. During the court proceedings, there were many missed opportunities for participation from the Board of Health representative, especially regarding board-specific issues related to noise in the test pits. Please, we urge you to realize the weight of your role and seize this opportunity to fully participate in these proceedings and actively fight to be the voice to protect these vulnerable residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. I see none. All right, do we have a motion to close the public comment?
I'll motion to close the public comment.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hear none, chair votes aye as well. Public comment has been closed. Okay, so next on the agenda is old business, so best updates. As we heard, yes, there was the tentative of agreeing to the BES. I know we have done a lot of work on this.
Yes.
I do know that seeing that for me personally was a bit frustrating in a matter of just all the work that we have put in as a committee, and not to continue with the same thing, but not having, being able to represent and things. I do know that we have, we are going to be doing an executive session on Friday afternoon so that we can submit comments. I believe, Shannon, you will be going to the hearing in person. And I believe you'll be speaking, yes.
Yep, the only non-attorney speaking.
Yes, yes. I can't, I don't want to speak for Shannon, but I just want to recognize that the position that she is in is not an easy one. We are not lawyers. She works for the town. She also, she has been, going through all the things with us, providing us the information as much as she can. She is also not a lawyer. It is also in a situation where during the hearings I was there, but not being able to speak during those hearings because our representative is Shannon, but putting in a position where she would have to question her own boss is not the best situation to be put into. And that is not saying that, not saying right or wrong, just facts, right? Understanding that part of it. This has not been easy, I don't think, for any of us. I'm going to leave it up to the rest of the board if they have anything else that they'd like to say or discuss on this.
No, I look forward to our meeting on Friday, and I'm going to do everything I can to hopefully go with you. I can rearrange things, I will.
Thank you.
Yeah. I am also going to try and potentially, maybe, I'm not going to put this on record. My job there's a lot of stuff going on, but I am going to attempt to do everything in my power to rearrange or figure out another way to be able to go as well and support what we have done so much for. So, Pam?
I don't have anything to say.
Chris?
I don't have anything appropriate to say.
Yeah. I do know that we're not giving up. Although it's frustrating, although it is, we're still in it. We still see some things. We're still trying. And again, I think I want to thank all the members who have come, all the, residents who have come in front of us that put this in front of us. And, we're still in it. We're still trying. The goal is always to really protect the health and safety of the community in whatever capacity that we can. And this is a stinky situation to be in, if that's even politically correct to say stinky.
Better than what
I would say something else, but that wouldn't be very thing. But yes, I mean, this is, as I said before, this was not on my bingo card at all. So I think this has been a learning for all of us. We are learning a lot through this. We are doing the best that we can, I think, for all of us in every aspect. And I think there was also a lot of miscommunication, to put that in that way. Miscommunication and just very weird way of putting everything out and how this all occurred. So, without saying more on that, but we do intend to put in our comments for sure. We will be putting our comments through, and also working on some things for the meeting on the 30th. So that is, it's from 9 to 1.
They deliberate from 12 to 1.
Yep, so 9 to 12, and it is open to public comment as well. So I would encourage anyone that is able to go, no matter what your thought or opinion or side. I think this is, this is part of democracy, right? I think everyone should be able to go and speak, do your due diligence, look at everything, and go and speak if you can. And I believe it's 10 minutes for everyone, right? Up to 10 minutes for everyone. 3 minutes for public. Thank you. 3 minutes for public, 10 minutes for those that are on the, that were part of the courts, the hearings. So, great. Anything else that anyone has for that?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll try to do my best to represent you guys while I'm speaking.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know. Again, I appreciate every single one of the members on the board. And I can't say that I know, but I feel everyone's energy. So, on this matter. All right. So, next will be the health department report. You can, Shannon, I'll leave that up to you.
Ashley has coordinated through our Tewksbury Opioid Task Force a cinema ad that will be playing at the Lowell Cinemas in regards to opioid overdose. And I just want to play the ad for you all so you can see.
Yeah, it was really good.
Let's see, I think I shut my volume off.
In our community, we take care of each other. Opioid use disorder touches people in every family, every neighborhood. It's a health condition, and effective help is available. Recovery is real. Recovery is happening every day in communities just like ours. Whenever the time feels right, a next step is possible. Visit the Tewksbury Health Department's Opioid Awareness and Support page online or call the Massachusetts Substance Use Helpline at 800-327-5050.
That's great.
Yeah, through our opioid task force, through our opioid settlement money, that is an ad that we got to pay for through that, so I think that's great.
Awesome.
And I can confirm that it is playing because I went to the movies Monday and I saw it. I had my 20-year-old with me, and because we got a preview of it, and I go, oh, I said, watch this. And he's staring at the screen like, what? And then he looks at me and goes, oh, are you fancy? So yes, it is playing in the cinema.
I know. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
Yeah, it's great. She did a great job with that.
We're getting recognized for more than one thing.
We can recognize good.
Yes.
Also, residents can request online through Central Mass Mosquito to have their yards sprayed. That runs through the summer, so I would take advantage of that if you want.
So if we don't want it sprayed,
They only do those who request.
Okay. So it's
I'm only
requested
saying that because I found plants that have helped us.
Yes.
And we've just put, I know.
What kind of plants?
No, regular, like herbs.
Yeah. Herbs,
All over, everywhere.
lavender.
Everywhere.
There's a bunch of different ones that will help. And then also there's mosquito traps that you can do that my husband actually started doing. And it actually works pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, we usually use natural. We usually use natural spray people that come with essential oils and stuff, and it works pretty decently, but they would still be there. And then we put these traps that are They're buckets. I saw it on Instagram. Don't knock. It was these buckets that you fill with water. You put like water and you put like all these like leaves and stuff. And then there's these baits that you can buy at Home Depot, I think, and you just put it in. And what it does is it attracts them, and they do their eggs, and then they die, right?
wow.
So it moves them away, and you put them on your perimeters of your yard.
Yeah.
And they say white buckets. I don't know why white, but yes, white buckets. But we've noticed a significant difference this year with that, just that alone with our spray, the essential oils and things like that. But
Peppermint oil.
yeah, peppermint's
really
great,
good.
lemongrass, citronella, things like that.
Or you can build a bat house.
Oh,
Bats eat mosquitoes.
I live in conservation land, so
Oh.
a little tricky.
yeah. I don't really want
Shannon,
that.
what do they use to spray? Is it essential oils or?
I'm not sure what the spray is. I would not say it's organic. That's my guess.
Yeah. And again, I think I think it's great to have a choice and to be able to do that.
Yes.
And I think that if you definitely want that done, I would highly recommend getting it done. If that is your choice and wanting to do that, I think it's better than having a whole bunch of mosquitoes. And then just be mindful if you have a garden that's also being sprayed on your garden. So wash your veggies very, very well before eating them.
The only time we had areas sprayed in town is when there's been like a triple E
Yeah.
positive
Big-
mosquito.
Big amount, yeah. And I think that's when you do a full blown, right? Yeah. Okay, great.
I do want to update the board on our intern Jake. He is working on a well regulation. He's been doing a lot of work gathering information from other towns and such. So hopefully he can come up with a draft that he can either present if there's
Oh, great.
time left in the summer, or I can present it to you guys, his work.
Okay, yeah, I think I know that was something that was
been on the
discussed. It's been on the to-do list for a while, so that's awesome that he's looking at that and presenting, so great, look forward to that. Any other reports from the board or questions, thoughts, anything?
No.
All right, then I'll entertain a motion to, adjourn.
I would like to motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, second.
All right, motion has been forwarded in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. It is 7:17 PM. Thank you, Tewksbury. I hope you have a wonderful night, and God bless.